Here we go now. Here we go now. Here we go now.
Welcome to the Vlogpastors Podcast, a podcast all about the stories and strategies of sharing God's love in the digital world. Now, here are two pastors that love to put a camera in their face and walk around in public. They are the Lewis and Clark of digital ministry, Jarrod Brown and Joshua Verwers.
That's right, Lewis and Clark here. I don't know who's who, neither do you, but that's all right because we're here, you're here, and it's Vlogpastors Podcast episode number 48.
What day is it? Is this
June
a Wednesday?
2nd. It is a Wednesday.
Finally make a Wednesday?
We made a Wednesday and pretty close to being on time. I mean, it's before 11, so that works.
It counts. Log it in the books. We made it.
Yes, absolutely. And Dean Lentini,
Come on,
first
Dean.
one in the house. Dean, good to see you here. You only barely beat Henry.
I was
Only
just
barely.
saying, I'm going to hop in the comments and log my first. But
Henry's here saying, "What's up, boys? Always glad
Ain't
to
happening.
see you on the screen." And Vaughn Sanders says he's playing hooky and he should be in a meeting.
come on, Vaughn.
He just can't adult this week.
Me either, man.
I'm with you. Like, today is the last day of adulting for me, and then I'm done.
No. It's raining outside. I don't know where you guys are, but for me, it's raining outside. It's a great day to sit around and how do you say this appropriately? Poop off. I don't know.
Yeah. Like that. Hey, if today is literally the last day of school, which means it is the last day of me driving bus. And
There's a party too, isn't there? Or
If
you had-
my will, well, the party was already done. They like rescheduled it twice on me. But if I have my will, this is the last day of driving bus ever for me.
Ooh.
Ever. I don't ever.
Congratulations.
Yeah, it's woohoo. Hey, I know I got a button. Is there a cheer button here?
Do it.
Nope, that was a rim shot. How about that?
Okay.
There we go. Yay, last day of school. I don't know what any of these buttons do. I've got them all on the Roadcaster, but it does. Like, I don't, they do weird things. I'm just going to randomly just punch buttons and we'll see what happens. That's the best way to remember it, right?
I believe so.
Try again.
You gotta learn it.
Yeah, see?
HD. We're good.
Crickets. No more crickets.
Just go ahead and associate that one to my name. We'll be good.
Yes. Henry is saying, what are we freestyling on today? Well, today, like every other episode, I'm starting to feel like maybe we're Pinky in the Brain. Only they're trying to take over the world, and we have no clue what we're doing. So, it's like, hey, we're going to do the same thing we do every week.
Same thing we do every week.
So, Henry, if you've got something you want to chat about, you know what to do. And this goes for all you guys. Anybody jumping in, joining us here on the live, just if you got a topic, it could really be about pretty much anything because, well, we'll talk about anything and everything usually. Yep. Sometimes all in the same episode. So just let us know if there's something that's intriguing in your world and in your mind and you want some vlog pastors to pontificate on it. We like to express ourselves in an annoying fashion. So there you go.
Oh, no, you found this. No, you found the sound buttons. No.
I have found it. Augie in the house as well saying, sup? And he is so excited. I
love that Diana Gladney last week, she brought her own sound package. She had her own sound effects for us. That was cool.
Mm-hmm.
Augie made it. She
did. Yep. Augie here. Dean is saying, hey, Vaughn, you got to do it every once in a while because it keeps you strong. And I would agree. Yeah. Playing hooky, it definitely has to happen. So, yep, got to happen. Genevieve saying, hey, guys, that means floating coffee hand will be around here somewhere. And by the way, for shameless self-promotion, if you guys didn't know, you can also get a floating baby angel Jarrod that wants to dance across the screen. Just by going down to the link right here. It's buymeacoffee.com/Joshua Verwers. Buy me a coffee.
Let's have our weekly chat, shall we?
Let's go ahead. Let's have our weekly chat.
Let's have our weekly chat. This baby Jarrod needs to die. It does not need to be resurrected. This is bad. I'm ready for it to sing its last song.
I disagree. I think the baby Jarrod, the Cupid Jarrod, we got to come up with a good name. That's what you guys should also help me out with. What is a better name for that? I've been calling it like the mostly naked baby Cupid angel floating Jarrod head.
How about this? Let's make a deal. If we can go 3 episodes without a floating coffee hand, or 1, how about 1? Let's go 1 episode without a floating coffee hand.
Last week.
Let's retire it. So it's already been 1. I'm willing to go for 3 if we've already gone 1.
We went 1.
Okay, let's go 3. If there are 3 episodes without a floating coffee hand, without a buy me a coffee purchase, let's retire the angel. Come on, you're a betting man. Let's get in on this.
Deal.
Okay.
Because if it happens happen this week, I'm going to rally the troops next week.
Come on, team. No purchases today.
No, we want hashtag floating Jarrod head. That's what we want. Logan in the house saying, woo, last day of school.
There you go.
Although Genevieve says, not for you, Logan.
What?
So, well, no. Yeah, homeschooling. I mean, who gets days off? I mean, they get days off when we feel like it. But then they continue to do stuff when we feel like it. Okay, hold on. I'm going to come back to that comment there, Henry, because that could be a good one. By the way, there's that link. If you haven't got it, you can also find it in the description below and activate it and make Jarrod shed a tear. While we shed tears of laughter, he'll be shedding tears of sorrow.
That's worth it. I love it.
Augie says the baby Jarrod is great. It's never gonna die. And if this was a Twitch stream, it would most amazing alert. Yes, it would be the most amazing alert. And as soon as I get to the monetization on this channel and can enable super chats,
Negative.
it'll definitely be happening. I'll figure out how to get that enabled. If that means I have to go like eCam into like OBS and really reduce my image quality, I'll do it just for that.
Let me tell you.
Although I can still make it an alert because I still get the little alert that pops up anyways, and then we'll have that. So
I'm about to mutiny on this channel. I'm about to kick the door in and say, if you head on over and buy me a coffee, buy me. No, just playing.
As soon as I can figure out how to, to do that, we'll do it. Okay, Dean is saying, I think it's only fair if Jarrod gets to make his own version of an angel baby Jarrod for Joshua.
So it is made. I just have to do the research to figure out. He won't allow it on the show. I need to figure out how to host a webcam, and whenever I get into Skype, see, it's all stuff that I have to figure out how to do. Whenever I log on, he's seeing the web version of whatever, so that I can launch the secret missile that way. It's beautiful. John Hayes worked it up for us. Yeah,
it's not.
Has sound effects and everything.
Yeah, it's not beautiful.
It's not beautiful for sure. It is funny.
Funny, I will give you that. Beautiful, I no, but it's something. It's something.
I gotta learn.
All right, hey, let's get to Henry's question here. Henry is saying, and while we're doing Henry's question, by the way, you guys want to chat about something, you know what to do. Drop a comment like Henry, and we'll chat about it. So he says, post-pandemic church, what does that look like in person? ? Online? ? Okay, so post-pandemic church. I'm going to take let's do a hot take approach here.
Okay.
I think that every single church that is ever said, I just want to get back to normal, should be cracked over the knuckles with a ruler like a third grade teacher in the 60s.
Oh, mercy.
Because I think by us saying we should go back to normal, we are coming in with the wrong approach. What we're basically saying is, I want it to go back the way it was. And I don't think church should ever go back the way it was. I think church should always be moving forward closer to where it should be. And I think that one thing that the pandemic has or should have taught us is that we are not going everywhere to reach everyone. And so we have to stretch beyond the four walls, the brick and mortar, and we have to figure out how to reach more people. So I come in with an approach that we should not be looking backwards. We should always be looking forwards. Now, what does that look like? I don't know. And I'm not sure anybody does.
I don't know.
It's like, I really don't. I don't know. I know what I want it to look like, but that's what I want it to look like. And I don't even know if that would be the right way that it should look. So for me, what would I want post-pandemic church to look like? Both in person and online. Like, I think we should be doing both. I think we should be taking the people that are already in person and helping them to connect with us more online, and then use what we're doing online to reach more people and connect with them. But I think we should also be then taking the people that we're reaching online and trying to bring them to an in-person setting. And I'll even go so far as saying, if we're reaching them online and they're unable to come to our in-person setting, then we need to be actively pursuing them going to somebody else's in-person and connecting them there. Because I think that everybody in church leadership, every Christian that has a firm understanding of the scriptures would shout out with an amen, yes, we need to be assembling together in person. And they would not argue that one bit. So when there's somebody that they're outside of our area, here I'm in Iowa. What do I do when somebody connects with me from Texas? Well, what I should be doing is saying, where are you at in Texas? And then reaching out to my network and say, hey, anybody know of some churches in this area? I should also be asking that person that I connected with, hey, what's your church history and church background like? Like, was there a church that you grew up going to? You know, if they grew up going to a Methodist church and they've got great memories of that Methodist church, to send them straight to, I don't know, like a charismatic, church, an open Bible, a Pentecostal, probably not the best. It's going to be a culture shock. Now, if they have bad feelings about the Methodist, the last thing I want to do is suggest they go back to a Methodist to bring up those church hurts. So I think that's where it's taking that dialogue even further and just asking more questions. But I think we should be trying to connect them both in person and online. And ultimately through that, it's not even about connecting them to us and connecting them to other believers as much as it's connecting them to Jesus through us and through other believers. Jarrod, thoughts?
Oh man.
Bring
I'm with you. Most of that, I'm with you. You do realize though, you're given the floor to the guy, to the church faction, if you will, that heard "burn the ships." So there is no normal anymore.
Correct.
To encapsulate it all, man, I don't think digitally or in person we know what we're doing yet as a body. I think the old way, and I say old way meaning hardline denominations, social agendas, things like that. I think those are on the chopping block with the Lord. I think he's redefining his church, and we cannot go back to the way that it was. That being said, I agree with you in that we don't know what it is yet. He's still
right.
He's still refining. I mean, there's some eternal principles that are the church and that are our relationship with him. But what that specifically looks like and how he wants us to operate, no stinking clue. All I know to date is that ain't it. I'll see something or I'll do something. For instance, ask my wife, made the wonderful mistake of asking my wife a couple weeks ago. I said, baby, what do you think about, the new church? We burned the ships. We left. We're out here, new location, just doing whatever the Lord tells us to do as best we know. What do you think? And she goes, Like, what do you mean, She's like, no, don't get me wrong. I love your preaching. I love whenever the Lord uses you to deliver a word. I mean, at the heart and core and center of it is, but like, what's different? What's new? I mean, are the relationships stronger? Are we, why, from her perspective, why do we build a set to tear down a set? Like in our place, why do we set up a multitude of chairs when we're at a banquet hall that already has tables set up? And we've been hearing these words about inviting people to the Father's table. Mm-hmm. We're like, well, I don't know, baby, because we're used to seeing it a certain way, because
right.
We got to worship a couple, 3-4 songs, and then I'm going to give a word for, 15 to 30 minutes, depending. Yeah. And then we're going to worship some more, and then we're going to take communion, because that's what we do. It's like, why? Anyway, that is the physical version of that. Now, the digital version, we can't even scratch the surface. I don't even know if the apps exist yet for the connection that could be. That I'm watching, for instance, TikTok. She got me finally, Joshua. She got me. She sent me so many TikTok videos that I'm like, well, if we had any information that needed to be given to China, we've already given it, because she's all in on this TikTok thing, all sorts of. Yep. So hop in on TikTok, and I'm seeing creative ways of polling people, interacting with people, making videos, all done on a cell phone, all natively, just cross-pollinating one another. And I thought, my word, we've only scratched the surface of creativity. And, the church is in there somewhere being defined. Is it going to be what we think it is? No, we can't go back for sure 150%, but I'm still waiting to see what's defined. So is it digital? Yes. Is it in person? Yes. Eternally, yes.
Yeah. As you were just saying that, and there was a comment here from Augie that really just kind of also sparked from what you're saying. We don't know what it's looking like, but we know that it's different, and don't know if there's an app that can do it, but there's all these other platforms that we can definitely go to. Augie had put in here that the post-pandemic church should look different in different locations, and I base this on Paul stating, I became all things to all people. I love that. Like, I love that aspect of how it must look different, and when I think about just in the last year, 2020, what has happened, it's not just been that our entire world has had to shift. It's every aspect. It's not just a world. It's not just the businesses. It's families that have had to rethink of how they do things. It's governments that have had to rethink how do we do things. It's business. It's church. It's been different demographics, races, including different religions, and everything has had to rethink because we've been through a trial and a trying time in a likes that historically I can't remember the last time we faced something that Black Plague maybe. I mean, we've got to go back hundreds, if not thousands of years to find something that has been this impactful. But one of the things that I think it's also brought, at least to my attention, and I hope that it's brought to others' attention, is the diversity across humanity. And that should also show us that are Christians the diversity that is inside the church. It's not about the individual churches, it's about the church. It's the body of Christ. It's all of our brothers and sisters from different denominations, different backgrounds, different interpretations, and different languages, different cultures. And it's how Christ is impacting us in each of those areas. So when I think about, we just look at how 2020 impacted the different races. How did it impact, Black America? How did it impact white America? How did it impact Asian America? I mean, how Latino America? All of these different races, it impacted them in different ways. And there's that lovely feedback that wants to creep in. But it's like all of these different ways they had to respond because they felt it in a different way and they responded in a different way. Why do we keep having that thing? That silly. Mine, yours, somebody's. We're going to blame it on TikTok in China. Why not? YouTube will like it. But, with all of that, it's opened my eyes to start seeing how different people see things. And I've even grown a deeper appreciation with different denominations and how they experience different elements, traditional elements within the church, spiritual elements within the church, and even how they approach just the scriptures in general. But if I stay in my little bubble, it doesn't work. So then when I sit there and I think about how does this apply to our church in person, if we're just staying within our four walls, it's not really going to work. And if I think about online, if we're just staying on our Facebook group that we've always had, and that's the only thing we're doing, it's not really going to work. Because what's going to happen? That there's a generation that comes in that they primarily use different platforms. And I don't think that we need to be everywhere. I think what you're saying, Jarrod, is, we need to start asking, why are we still doing it this way? Why do we want to do it this way? And should we be doing this way? And if we should, then why should we be doing it? I think getting back to that why question helps us. Because if God has called us to, like our local church, to be more evangelistic, then I've got to take a different approach. If we're called to be more of a community-based, we've got to take a different approach. If we're there just for, like the spiritual instruction and the biblical teaching, we have to take a different approach. And all of those elements are part of what it means to be the church. But then each local church has different gifts and different callings. And just because I see your church doing something doesn't mean my church should be doing it. And just because my church is doing it doesn't mean yours should be doing it. So I don't know. I think it can't be really summed up. I mean, to go, back to what Henry was saying, what does that look like? It's different. I mean, really what Augie's saying is it should look different.
Yep.
Depending on each location. It has to look different. But I do think there should be both. I don't think we can just sit there and say in person only. I think there needs to be both. Because part of it is if we have taken this last year where we've done all the work to get things going online and to reach people where they're at, and then all of a sudden things open up and we just want to pull that rug out from under them, I think we're doing them more of a disservice. I think what it does take is it takes us, especially those in leadership, to try to figure out how can we still do both without burning us out and without burning out our people. You know, how can we maintain this to the point where we can continue to grow? I don't know. And like you said, we don't know. We're figuring it out.
It introduces more questions than answers. Sorry, Henry, because I mean, even in the way our framework, Joshua and our framework of how we would deliver the answer to this question, it implies all of our bias towards it, because it's like, what happens if several of my folks decide that they want to jump in as well and speak on behalf of the church or something? Does that make sense? Like, we're just thinking from the framework of how do we not burn ourselves out? How are we on multiple platforms? How do we make sure that the message is getting out, the cohesive message of the church? Well, what if that, like, again, back to the why? Is that even the point? And what comes up in my mind is during COVID, during the peak of it, I believe we were the early adopters to some of this stuff. You and I, Joshua, and along with
Right.
churches who had capability in video. We hop into this thing. You shot the first vlog that I know of, first sermon vlog ever. Just think about that I know of. Maybe it's been out there before, but when it counted, when the rubber meets the road, we're in a pandemic. You can't go anywhere. The vlog sermon comes out, and it was incredible. And same thing happened over at Grace. I shot a couple of those, and we were online seeing numbers that you would, you'd kill for these days. Where are those?
Yeah.
Is that long-lasting, long-term fruit? Sorry, Henry, I don't know, man. I mean, did it have its place in its time? Did it bring about transformed believers? Or are we just being faithful stewards with what we had, with what we had ability to do in the time, and that's good enough? I don't know, man. I don't know. I do believe what Joshua said is paramount. Like, what has God asked us to do? You specifically, what has He asked you to do? Be faithful and obedient in that process, and do it with all of your mind, all of your heart, soul, mind, and strength. Love the Lord your God and do what He tells you to do with all your juice, man. And let the rest of it be what the rest of it is. But I don't know that it's quite fully developed yet. I'm not singing it. I won't say it. I'm not going to do any sort of angel. It needs to die.
You don't need to. And apparently we almost lucked out, but my overlay does not want to work. It did not engage. I just pulled up my Buy Me a Coffee, and it shows me.
Floating coffee. What?
I didn't think it was working, but then all of a sudden I got a text message, and it says that Genevieve bought me a coffee.
Genevieve. We need to establish some more rules.
Hey, you didn't clarify.
You cannot buy yourself.
I didn't buy. I did not.
Flesh. You cannot buy yourself a coffee. All right, we're taking it to the comments. That does not count. Somebody.
I think that counts. You guys tell me.
One flesh. That does not count. No.
She bought it with her money, even though my money is her money. It was her account. I had nothing to do with this. I didn't even know. She sent me a text that says I paid for a coffee. So she bought me a coffee.
Negative.
I mean, I think it works. You guys are the judge, the jury. Let me know. What do you think? Is that valid, or are we still back at an invalid?
You guys know
I gotta
in
know.
the pit of your soul.
I gotta know.
Is not valid.
I think it's definitely valid.
No.
I think so. I think it is, but we'll see. We'll let you guys decide if that's valid or not. By the way, and the way this is working is Jarrod does not want to see that anymore, and we have made a wager that if we can go 3 episodes without that happening, in other words, without people buying it.
We're already 1 episode in. We're halfway through another one. Come on, baby.
last
We're
week. It
halfway
definitely, although I did notice when I looked over, Buy Me a Coffee is having some issues because it got rid of like all of my profile image and everything. Like I have no photos and stuff on there, so I don't know what that is, but let's see.
Somebody's on my side. I don't know.
No, I don't think so.
I'm just saying.
Oh, I know what it was. It was the hack. Yeah, the China TikTok. That's what it was. But you guys let us know if that is there. By the way, if you didn't know, and if you guys are doing like any type of content creation and stuff, wanting some extra help, got a membership over there at Buy Me a Coffee. Last month, because of everything going on around here, it was a little quiet. This month, be prepared. Lots of stuff coming out, and I don't know if you guys can even see this over my left shoulder. There's a lot of stuff happening over here. What
is that?
I've got like a magic arm and wireless keyboards and
a hoverboard,
a couple VESA mounts. Oh, and that's a wall-mounted light boom arm and wall-mounted. Yeah, there's.
You want the stuff off the floor? Is what you want?
I want the stuff off the floor. I don't want a dog running around by my feet and taking out cables.
Yep.
So we will see. But yeah, that's lots of stuff that's happening over there. So hey, if you guys are interested in that and you want some extra stuff, I'm also going to be starting out some Zooms where we can just kind of hop on and just chat about answering any stuff, and that's going to be some members only stuff. So we got that coming.
Knock.
Who's there?
Me. There we go. Thank you.
And not me. Yeah.
There we go.
I reached over and I hit the wrong button.
All good. I wasn't
I'm serious. I can't hear my left hand.
I hit the wrong button. Hey, there it is.
What is that?
There's
programmed into.
There's apparently. I don't even know what it was.
Oh my gosh, man.
Hey, anyway,
right.
Pastor Mike Holloman saying, well, should we be doing two services, one in person and one for the live stream that can preach right to them? So I believe so.
Say that again. Where is it? Should we be
doing two, quote, services, one in person and one for the live stream that can preach right to them? I believe so. However, actually doing that, I've only done a few times. Like Jarrod had mentioned, when I did the vlog style sermons, those were online only audience. It was aimed right at them. And I think it was easier to kind of connect, sitting at home. However, the amount of work that takes is a little bit of a pain. Now, I don't think everybody has to do that. I do think a happy medium in there could be doing a church, like if a church is going to do a live stream and they're going to put it out there, this is where I think the pastor, the preacher, whoever's ministering the word, needs to make sure that they are making eye contact with the camera that is set up in the back. You've got to be able to connect with the audience. And it's kind of in the same way when we're preaching, we're looking around at the congregation that is there, trying to make eye contact with them to help pull them into the message. It's that connection that we have. So to be able to look into the lens, make eye contact with them, I think is very helpful. And to be able to address them and make sure that they know it's not like they're just a fly on the back of the wall listening as, we're kind of talking like this. No, I'm talking to you too. I think that would be the happy medium in there, but it still is kind of like a split focus. So that's where I think doing multiple services, having one that is online only, is a great idea. The practicality of that, I don't know how that works. Now, I've been spread so thin, I just haven't had the chance to be able to do that. I do plan on doing more of that this summer, and it's going to work out great this summer because usually, I don't know if your churches are like mine, but in summer the attendance kind of goes down anyways. You got people doing vacations and they're kind of traveling. So I think this is going to be a way to help keep them connected a little bit more, to do an online only. And so I plan on starting that not for this Sunday, but the following Sunday, and at least doing that on a weekly basis through the summer to kind of get a feel for it and see if I can find a rhythm and a routine to be able to do that.
Yeah.
I will also say that when you do that, when you're preaching just to a camera, you go a whole lot faster. it's a shorter message. So
Well, plus you're gonna if you're gonna edit it afterwards,
yeah,
you're gonna cut through that thing, and it's gonna be 30 minutes, 15 minutes type of thing. You're gonna blast through that bad boy. No, I would say it's all about work, man. Just what Joshua was saying. It's all about your workload and whether you're supposed to do it or not. Also, if you're used to vlogging in public, you're gonna be fine.
yeah,
You'll be able to address the camera. You'll be able to engage the online audience as well as the one that's there. It's awkward if you're not, though. It's really, really awkward because and I'll disagree with Joshua on this point. You don't necessarily have to look into the camera. All that is a matter of preference. That's going to be age demographics or whatever your congregation is used to. For instance, some of my older folks, they don't need all that. They want to be a part of the congregation. So if you can set up like a camera in amongst the pews, they love that.
Yeah.
They just want to be like they're eavesdropping in on the sermon. They were actually there that day. If you happen to come across a younger demographic member, they want more of a vlog style. They want different camera angles and access. From my experience, they want to be up in the chili and they want to see all the behind the scenes. Like
Right.
when Joshua does the computer panel view on this thing, do you still have it? I love that type of
That
stuff.
one.
It's not the highest quality. It just, it's a webcam somewhere back. Actually, that one's great. You can't even tell. You get to see all of the issues, all the bumps. The younger folks love that. So it doesn't even have to be a great angle. Just get them behind the scenes and they enjoy that. That keeps their attention for longer. Anywho, it just all depends, man. That's where we would vary. If you can vlog in public and be comfortable, you can live stream dual audiences. If you can't, that's weird for you, or that's awkward, or you pay attention to one or the other, you might double your workload and edit later, or find somebody to help you out in that area.
yeah. Okay, good.
My two
Hey,
cents.
Guess what?
Floating
What?
coffee hand.
Who's the? All right, give me their names.
That
their
would be
names.
my mom.
Deb, you did me dirty, Deb. Oh my, Deb. Of all people, I expected Dean or John or somebody like that. No, Deb.
Yeah. So, and Dean says a coffee bot is a coffee bot and it counts. Augie says it is valid. So
Start the clock.
there we go.
We're not even gonna wait till the next episode. Start the
Although
clock.
John says that he's on your side, Jarrod.
This is all inside the family.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
He says it's on your side. So, John, what we're doing is, which John is here, he says he finally made it today. Not sure what I've missed, but I'll catch it on the replay. You've missed us talking about how Jarrod and I made a wager that if we can go 3 episodes without the floating Jarrod head, then it would be discontinued forever and ever. And then Genevieve bought me a coffee to make sure that didn't happen. And he says that was an invalid purchase because
Valid.
2 have become one flesh. But Dean and Augie say that it is valid and it does count. But then, just in case that didn't work, Mom bought me one anyways. I love it.
Deb.
So I'm having to go over and manually check, like refresh my Buy Me a Coffee because the link isn't working.
I'm caught off guard, man. I don't even know what to say about that.
Yeah. So they
Mama
just
Deb got me.
they love seeing your face on a little angel just floating across the screen singing Floating Coffee Hand. So I don't know what to tell you. Yep. Hey, Mike Holloman has a joke for us. He says, joke alert, haha. A vaccinated group of Presbyterians is called the Frozen Chosen with a silent P.
No.
I love it. Okay, so here's some other ones. Mike was saying he also struggles with online. It's great to reach people, but it also has to some extent made lazy or less committed disciples be disconnected from the body. This is kind of been an ongoing debate that I've had, and this has been like 10 years of doing church online or doing live streams. Is it giving an excuse for people to be lazy and stay at home and not get in front of people, not have that personal accountability. Yes, it is doing that. At the opposite end, is it also reaching those people who, for whatever reasons, aren't able to be there, want to be able to be there, and helping them stay more connected? Yes, it is. So I think we can take a pessimistic or an optimistic look at it, and this is where I've had to sit there and just kind of come to this moment of saying, I don't care what other people do with this. I'm not going to be held accountable to their reception. I'm going to be held accountable for my putting it out there. What am I trying to do? Not what are they actually doing with it? And so that's where it's like, I want to reach as many as possible. So I'm going to do this. And if they want to be lazy, as long as I think I've taken the approach of making sure that people know that's not my intention. I want to reach them and I want them to be connected. I think if I've made that very clear, then I can stand before my Lord and Savior on that day when he's, passing judgment on me and saying, hey, I know what works you did. And I'll be like, yeah, I know you saw what I was trying to do. I was trying to reach more people. They didn't want to receive it, but didn't stop me from doing what you told me to do.
Listen, let's just be real honest here. Okay.
Okay.
The pandemic.
Yes.
And the after effects, now that everyone is vaccinated, has shown you when people are ready to dip, they will dip.
Mm-hmm.
The end.
Yeah.
You're basically, if you want to keep your sanity, do what the Lord's called you to do, preach the gospel, send it out to as many people as you possibly can. Let it just infiltrate the earth with the message of who he is. And then just let the chips fall where they may, like Josh is saying, because, dude, the people who didn't want to go, they took their exit.
Right.
And then that's why the church is scrambling to go, well, where'd everybody go? They didn't want to be there in the first place. It was out of obligation.
Right.
Good. Cut. Right. Let's go after the people who want to hear the good news. Let's go.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Absolutely.
A little too frank there, but yeah.
No, absolutely. And that was something, you can look back on, I think, live streams that we did at the beginning of the pandemic, and you'll hear me saying that I truly believe that COVID-19 is the cover that people needed for their rebellion.
It was a
they were
glorious
looking for an
weeding
excuse.
out process.
Yeah.
I know we got the wheat and the tares, but it was a beautiful moment to go, hey, listen.
It was.
Get out.
Yep, for sure. And that was, to me, like, we had people at our church that were concerned. And they were asking me, what are we going to do? I was like, nothing. Absolutely nothing. We're doing nothing different than we've always done. We're going to keep preaching the word, and we're going to give thanks that this moment, it has separated those who are with us and those who weren't really with us.
Because I'm telling you something, none of us, Joshua included, none of our live streams are that good. Okay? You gotta want to be there.
No. Yeah. And it's not just, and it wasn't just them. Like, every church has faced this. It's not just small churches, it's the large churches. It's every church has faced this. And here's one of the things that, this is also something I've been saying for years. Like, I see churches constantly trying to compete with each other, thinking that the church that is 4 blocks down is their main competition. That is not your main competition. On Sunday morning, your main competition is that their pillow and blanket is more comfortable than your pews. It's like everything is competition. You know what? Getting in line at McDonald's before the rush hits. You know what? The only way I'm going to do that is if I skip church, because all those churchgoers want to go at the same time. Everything is competition.
The best is whenever, say church starts at 10:30, 11, I don't know, pick your time, 9, and they show up 9:30, 10:30, whatever after it is, about 30 minutes late. They got Starbucks in hand, baby. Starbucks in hand. Oh.
Competition.
Riled this morning. Get me riled.
Everything is competition. Well, and I've told people in our church, I don't care if you take off early. I don't care if you come in late. I don't care. You're not going to offend me at all. You're only going to get out of it what you're putting into it. So if you're only going to put in, 20 minutes of time on a Sunday morning, you're only going to get that out. So it's all on you. Like, you're the only one that's going to bother. And for some people, valid reasons to be able to do what I'm doing and focus on that so I don't go insane and I don't get frustrated and I don't take off my boot and start throwing it across the room.
I mean, I got the mic. I'm like, Barbara, where are you going? Where are you going? All right, we'll see you later. We'll see you later, Barbara. I have no idea why nobody wants to come to church anymore.
Oh, that's
I'm
hilarious.
messing with
No, there is a moment, like I can relate to when it is bothersome. I think the only ones that it bothers me is like my kids. Like if my kids get up in the middle of my preaching to go to the bathroom, I'm like, you do not have to go that bad. And I am not preaching that long. You're fine. Sit back down. So that's the only time. Like everybody else, I don't care. I mean, I'm responsible for mine. So it's just.
Do you guys do, this is random. I get a random question too. Do you guys do worship at your, I mean, obviously worship, but like, do you guys do
worship? What's that?
Yeah, obviously. Musical side to your worship? If so, do you lead that?
So we have, yes, we have a worship moment. I have led it. I do not like leading it. I'm not leading it anymore. Okay. Although when Mom takes her little vacation here in a couple weeks, I will be leading it that Sunday again, maybe, unless I get somebody else to do it. I've done it. I just don't like doing it. It's too much for me to focus on Sunday morning. I've got several pastor friends that they do. And they do an amazing job with it. And I'm like, man, God has gifted you in a mighty way. Yeah. And thank God for it. But I just can't do it. So, yeah. Nope, not me. But hey, okay. Here, let's see. I had, where was it? I know it was Vaughn. Vaughn had a comment. Where's the comment, Vaughn? Right there. He says that he had to educate one of his older members who said, we don't need online after the pandemic is, quote, over. Yeah, it is going to take some definite educating there. We do. I think we do need it after it's over.
I think if you can humanize, just to hop in, I think if you can humanize who's on the other end, right. Like my congregation felt the same way. Like, what's the point? Why are we even live stream? Well, because Barbara's on the other end, Rick's on the other end of this thing, and they're faithfully here. This is the only way that they can make it. Do you want Rick to be able to come, kind of thing? Yeah, of course you do. So let's throw it up for him.
Yep. And I know we had that where actually some of our older members came up to me asking, why aren't you doing the sermons online anymore? And it was like, because I'm burnt out and I don't have time. And it was like, I mean, if you want to know why. And it was because they ran into people in the community that had been watching. We had no clue. Yeah. But they ran into them and they were asking, why isn't your pastor putting those messages online anymore? Yeah. And they didn't know because they weren't even on Facebook. So like a lot of the older members, they were watching from YouTube, because that was easier for me to get, set up on there. We'd have somebody else in town come over to their house and, hop on their smart TV and show them how to, navigate it and get YouTube on. And it worked well, but they didn't know anything about Facebook and how we were doing that as well. So then when people in the community are finding it and then they're asking them, they're like, hey, you go to, Full Faith, right? Yeah. Why isn't your pastor doing that online sermon anymore? Yeah.
And you never know. The point being, you never know, because say you have 100 views on a given Sunday, and you're right. Frustrated about it because it's the same 100 people who are watching. You don't know that. Yeah. I can't tell you how many times. Or for one example, there's a family in Japan who happened to catch some of our stuff, and they didn't even know it was on. Found it, loved it, that sort of thing. Old friend from you don't know, through Facebook type of thing. Let them know that there was content there, and they were able to get a hold of it, and that's how their family chose to worship. You just don't know how God does what He does. Yep. I wouldn't assume that we're only reaching the same 350, 100, 150,000 people every week. Yeah.
Now, I mean, you go pre-COVID when I stopped doing any of the online stuff. Well, I could actually at that point see, hey, I'm checking our podcast and there was one download. And I know exactly who that was because she had a conversation with me 3 days later about the message and thanked me for it. So it was like, and that was the one person that wasn't asking for it on a weekly basis. So it's like the ones that are asking for it aren't even watching it. I wonder what happens if I just stop putting it out there. And 2 months later, nobody knew. Anyhow, Augie's saying that that's a ground loop that we had going on there. So the feedback. So a ground loop, your end, my end. We'll blame it on
every
TikTok.
time. Every time. Well, that works too. I figured we're going to do my internet.
Yeah. So actually, your internet is holding up very well today. Maybe it needs to rain more often when we do these.
I have unplugged every Wi-Fi device, shut down everything, anything that could cause trouble. We're good to go.
Yeah.
Jesse's not here watching TV via the internet. We're ready to rock.
Sweet. And you don't have my internet, so you don't have, Josh and Diana speeds.
Oh, speaking of, and I will answer their questions. I've got to know about a portable live stream option. I'm spending too much money, so put that in your questions for here in a minute.
Portable live stream option.
Portable live stream option. I made the mistake. I wanted to live stream off an iPad Pro because I wanted it to be all portable, like tap, Wi-Fi, that type of thing. Anyway, found out the extreme hard way after lots of money. Lots of money. I should have done a little bit more research on the front end. That is not the case. You cannot do that. Yeah. I wanted to hop on Ecamm and have a little bit more power through an iPad Pro, maybe an M1, and rock that thing. And that is not an option. You can use your iPad, which is where I found the words. I just didn't read the articles.
Yeah. You use your iPad as more of a source than anything else.
Yep.
Completely portable. All right, we'll come back to that. I've got it here.
Yep.
And by the way, guys, we're going to do something we're going to start implementing here in just a couple minutes that is going to be a little bit of a change to our format because Jarrod and I get to like the end of our hour and a half, 2 hours, and all of a sudden our molars are floating and we're doing the pee-pee dance. So here in just a couple minutes after I get through some of these comments, I'm going to roll like the countdown again, and then we'll come back and we'll do like part 2 of the live stream. So we don't want you to be aware. We're doing what you know why we do this? Because we want to. But I do want to get some of these comments here real quick, and we'll do that in just a bit. Augie saying, Mike, agree. We talk about state and supplements. Online is like a supplements, and church in person is like steak and potatoes. Yeah, and that's a good way of looking at it as well, where it can be, steak and potatoes. You could look at it as maybe different meals too. You could possibly look at it as, like if you're going to have one big meal a day, that could be, the in-person service. Or you could have a bunch of other little meals to try to tie you over and get you by. But just keep in mind, if you're only eating once a day, you're in a fasted state. And that means something is being eaten away from the inside. So better make sure it's not that spiritual nutrition that you've already got on the inside. I don't know if that analogy worked, but
I don't know where you're going with it, but keep going. I love it.
Sounds fun. So Mike was saying, agreed with Vaughn. I think the pandemic has given us a great desire for more fellowship events. Yes. And he was saying, this was in response to Vaughn saying, don't forget that the church is more than just a gathering on the Lord's Day. Yeah, absolutely. It is seen that. And I've seen those that are committed and with the church, they were wanting more. Like even when last year around this time, I think I was doing that Read the Bible with me, where it was like a nightly live stream and we're just kind of reading a chapter. And I had a lot of our church members that were hopping in on that, whether it was in and they were able to chat or whether they were just listening. And then we did a couple like small group Bible studies over Zoom. And there was some good stuff that came out of that. So there was a connection. And I think it's because people realized when you are kind of isolated from people, you do long for that. Many people long for that, not everybody, but longing for that connection. Now, what do we do out of that? I'm one of those that I don't always long for that connection. So I've got to be aware of other people that are longing for that. And then what can we do? So agree. Dean, I think Augie is so right. Many places are opening up, but my context is still in lockdown. As I move into church planning, using online media to get the ball rolling in my city will be a necessity. Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing, like, man, my heart has just had so much compassion for those church planners out there. Those that were starting, like our friend Chase Jones, where
man.
he was ready to launch church live and in person on Easter Sunday of last year. And then, 2 weeks prior, everything shuts down.
But how
And it's just like,
uniquely gifted, like perfectly equipped for that particular season and plant. That's one of those things where you just tip your hat at God and you're like, mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Where
like
I'm
the,
sure
the
he's
foresight
sitting
that,
I'm sure he's sitting there long nights in his chair editing and learning video camera stuff going, what in the world's all this about?
Why do I keep doing this?
Why do I keep doing this? Oh yeah.
And then all of a sudden you get there. I was the same way. Like, I sat here and I thought, man, nobody could have seen 2020 happening. Nobody. I heard all those prophets out there with their 2020 prophetic visions. You didn't see it coming.
You're a vision, baby.
Nobody saw it coming. But at the same time, I was going into that thinking, thank you, Jesus. Yeah. Thank you that I heard you a couple years ago and invested all of this time, energy, and money into this equipment and into what I do, because I was able to we don't skip a beat. It's like, okay, we can't be to church this Sunday, and well, I guess I'm just going to live stream, and I'll do it from home. And I had already done that a few times, so it was easy for us to kind of switch into that. But for so many others, man, it was a chore. And that's where it's like, I want to ramp up even more and learn how to be very flexible and fluid to jump to different platforms, because I don't know when the next 2020 is going to happen and what that could be. So when I see people on all these other things, I've got to be very flexible and very adaptable. Is that the word? Mm-hmm. So that's kind of some of that stuff. But anywho, Mike saying, Augie, love that image. That would be of the steak and potatoes and the supplements. He says, I also think we need to try to do one or two well rather than trying to do all the things. Yes. And that's where I've kind of been reapproaching. One of the other reasons why I haven't added in, this is the two sermons, the one for online, one for in person. One of the reasons that I haven't jumped in with doing the online service yet, because I'm so busy, I don't want that to pull away from the in-person. And so I've really been focusing to make sure that our in-person services are right where they need to be. And then as I have more time, fortunately, here moving forward, I'll have more time, then I'll be able to start focusing on that. And I think that's a great approach, and it's also a very balanced approach for us. I think it comes in with that making sure we're not burning out too. So, okay, I'm doing these too, but am I doing them well? And it's not just the product that I'm putting out as well, but my sanity and my well-being. Have I got enough time for my own personal growth and my own rest? Because I don't want to go back to the place where I've been way too many times where I'm ministering out of an emptiness rather than ministering out of an overflow. Like I want to be so full that I can't help but to just pour that out, rather than I'm depleted and I'm just here begging and pleading with God, just fill me a little bit up because I got to give it out again.
Well, different strokes for different folks too. Definitely on the being full and overflow, but I don't think it has to be perfect. No, I mean, we disagree on this element. I just think if it's not perfect, I'm not going to put it on any of our major outreaching sites. So it's not going to be on the church's Facebook page. It's not going to be on the church's, even possibly on the church's YouTube channel or anything that we're sharing and putting out. But it would be in a group. So that's what we do right now. We post. Vaughn, I think you asked. Did I grab it? You said Mevos. There you go. I don't know if you were teasing me, but yeah, we do the Mevo thing, but it's only to it's only to the group. It's just the home team who's going to be a part of. Either has come to the church. We're pretty selective about the group because we want to keep it tight. Come to the church, been a part of the church, friend of the church, that type of thing. It's not out. It's not public for everyone. So it's just slam up the Mevo so that you can keep the main thing, And that's where Diana and Josh have given me some trouble over the last couple of weeks, in that I am trying to improve it so that one day it could be on the one of the main outlets for outreach. But in the meantime, there is a use what you have, do what you can type of thing. I can't remember how the whole Joshua's Moses deal goes, but I just use what I got. So I would encourage you, if you're my personality type, use what you got. Learn, work out all the kinks, spend too much money on an iPad and adapters to try and live stream, figure out that's wrong, and then go dive down another rabbit hole. Learn it all.
Yeah. Hey, let me do 2 more comments here, and then we'll run our little break. How about that? All right. John says, we have lost our mission when the church down our street is our competition. That sounds like a Trey Van Camp alliteration and whatnot.
Who said that? Where are we? What are we talking? Yes.
This was John Hayes. Yeah, we have lost our mission when the church down the street is our competition.
That's right.
Yes. So that's good stuff. I like that. Hey, and he said, where's the other one I was looking at? I believe it was from, this was from Vaughn. Totally right, Jarrod. I had to humanize who was on the other end of our online services. And we've actually had people reconnect with the church and have had new members. So yes. Very good.
Just a little nugget. Yep. Sometimes if you're doing a live stream and you're mic'd up anyway, and you're not ready to turn on the main sound and talk to everybody, you can talk to your live stream audience and let them know, give them a little personal flair, and say, hey, what I do is I say, hey guys, getting ready to wrangle this bunch before I get to screaming at everybody, and tell them, hey, grab your coffee, come sit down. I have a little personal time with the YouTube or whatever we're doing it on, Facebook audience, and say, hey, what's going on? If you have any questions, any concerns, any prayer requests, that type of thing, leave them in the comments. Just have a quick second. Shout out to the humanized folks who are at home. Hey, Miss Joyce, how you doing? Hey, Rick, what's going on? Luke, you in the comments today? Say hello. That sort of thing. Say hi to the kids.
Yep.
Anyway, just a thought.
I like it. Okay, so hey, one other here. Clint saying, hey guys, Clint has made it in here with us. Letting you guys know, Jarrod and I are going to refill real quick. We're going to take a short little break. I'm going to run it's a 5-minute countdown, but we'll come back before that. You can kind of expect it probably to be, 3 minutes or so. So we'll be back here in just a bit, and then we'll get to portable live streaming solutions.
Gotcha. I'm good.
All right, we're back. Hey, good to see you. Glad you're here. We're back. You're back. We're all back. You got some fresh coffee?
I'm ready to rock. Water, actually.
Oh, what? Water?
Yeah, it's this
I mean,
stuff
I've
minus the coffee.
minus. What?
Yeah.
What? That's
I know it's a bland version, but it's good, man. Good for you too.
I like mine with additive. So, all right. I have a sticky note here, and it says portable live stream option. What do you mean
Let's do
by
it.
portable live stream option?
As portable as humanly possible. Okay, right now at current, I have the Mevo option, is what Vaughn was talking about. Here's your Mevo with. Let's see if I can hunker down behind it. Huh?
The plastic. Yeah, keep that plastic
Huh?
on because you need to send that back.
Huh? Okay.
Let me ask you this.
This would be fine. This would be fine, guys. The Mevo, it's like it would be like a GoPro. The software is fantastic on it. You can do multicam, camera assistant, very good stuff. However, if you find yourself like me in a no light or low light situation, you're in some trouble. It does not do well at all.
So
It's
if you're
very
in
mushy.
a low light situation,
Yes.
like virtually every church.
Pretty much every church. Well, I think you would be okay if you had like a light rack and you were illuminating the stage. If you're something like we are right now, if you're mobile and you can't be putting up lights like that, tearing down lights every week, then
Yeah.
you need to find a different option. You need to find some sort of Sony, run to your Sony and figure out how to work in low light.
Hey, by the way, Jason Remster here as well. Jason, good to see you. He says he's still here. And yes, Clint was here waving. He might still be here. I don't know if he's here. But the portable live stream solution, let me ask you this. I haven't even checked, but Mevo runs what?
I don't want to talk about it. More
$400
than it
bucks
should.
for a Mevo start.
I think it was like a three something a piece, $329, I want to say.
And that was for like,
And you can get a basket full of them. I'm just saying. You get a basket full of these. I have a
silly.
few.
See what happens? We talk about Mevo and all of a sudden our feedback wants to start.
I don't think it's me, boss.
I just stop talking and it goes away. And it could be me. I mean, as you guys could kind of see here, there's some construction that is going underway, which, hey, good on John. Good on John, because John said he's keeping boxes behind the door. So John caught that. There are boxes behind my door. So yes, there's boxes behind my door, and there's more packages on the way, and there's
More goodies.
all sorts of more goodies that are.
Oh, there's a really good goodie coming.
There's a couple really good goodies coming. But so, all right, mobile live stream.
Yes, sir.
Let's start with if you're live streaming, you need a computer. Like
Yes.
you're gonna have to have. I mean, you could technically, if you want like the cheapest live streaming out there.
Here's the thing. Before you go there, I don't want a monitor. I don't want to have to carry a computer and a monitor because I need it
Okay.
portable.
So
Super portable.
I was gonna say, if you want the cheapest and most portable, GoPro. Like get the new GoPro 9 with the Max Mod adapter, so that way you can plug in an external mic and you can stream from the GoPro using your phone for a hotspot. So churches could do that quick setup, and you're looking at under $1,000 for the whole thing. So you could definitely do one of those.
Is that not what this is?
It essentially is, only I don't trust their ability to stream.
This?
No.
This has
like,
been fantastic.
I will trust GoPro over that, and the GoPro lenses are going to be a lot better than those things, especially with that max mod lens. So that would be like the cheapest scenario. The Mevos will work, but again, like you're saying, you're going to have to, you're definitely going to have to work with low light situations. So if we just start, let's start with the camera. Okay, so for portability, in a church setting, which most churches, especially small churches, like a larger church, if you're a larger church, you don't care about the portability aspect of this.
Yeah,
so we're
got
not
a
even
bunker
talking to
somewhere
you.
with this.
Yeah, we're talking to smaller churches with the portability aspect, and they're typically having a hard time with lighting and getting good, consistent lighting. So with that, you're going to want something that can actually handle low light, which is not going to be your cell phone. It's not going to be a Mevo. It's not going to be a GoPro. It's going to be a camera. And with that, I would say you want to go with something that's going to handle low light better than anything else. That's going to put you in Sony camp. And I would honestly say that probably the easiest setup would be to go with the Sony ZV-1. Yes, you've got just a point and shoot. It does have a nice sensor size on it. It does handle low light very well. Because it's point and shoot, it gives the focal length of like 24 to 70 mils, so you got a little bit of a zoom. Its f-stop is 1.8, which means you're allowing more light in, so that's always a bonus. Auto focus on that is really good, so you don't really have to worry about that. It's got your mic jack, so you can put in external mics, no problem. And here's the big key. Most small churches, they're not even familiar with streaming to YouTube. They're going to be looking at streaming solely to Facebook because that's where the majority of their audience is going to be. Facebook will only, with a few exceptions, Facebook is primarily letting live streaming going at 720p. Yes, you can kind of upgrade some of that if you've got enough videos and consistency, but typically 720p, especially if you're going mobile solution, you don't have the bandwidth. So you're going to look at, I want 720p. That way I'm only going to be needing like 1 to 3 megabyte per second upload speed. That's where your 720p is going to come in handy. And with the Sony ZV-1, you don't need a HDMI output. It'll do the USB out at 720p resolution, whereas even my A6600, it's going to be even a lower resolution than that. I think it's like 540 is the resolution that comes out USB. So with the ZV-1, you get a higher resolution through USB. And then you can upgrade and do 4K output if you wanted to through an HDMI. But for the simplest way, Sony ZV-1, your USB cable out, that's going to give you a 720p resolution. Now the computer that it needs to go to, I would... That's where you're getting tricky because you're looking at a mobile solution. You said you don't want monitor. You just want all-in-one, right?
All-in-one would be nice.
Yeah, so I would probably suggest the Mac Air with the M1. And I think it'll handle it all right. I've seen people, like I think I saw a Gene Nagata video recently where... And I think that's right at $1,000, if I remember right.
Is that what Dean's running?
Yeah, Dean had actually said that. Yeah, he says, "Oh man, Jarrod, that's the main reason I got an M1 MacBook Air. No easy way to live stream with the iPad OS." So,
Dean, you still in here? What do you think about it?
Yeah, and that's what I would like to know on the live streaming aspect. I did watch one of Gene Nagata Potato Jet's newest videos. He was talking about the MacBook Air, and he's used it to record to edit several of his vlogs using it. And to me, I'm thinking if you're editing footage, and he showed like 3 different cameras too, and he's got like that C700 and I don't know what else. I think he's got he's got crazy cameras with crazy codecs, and it's handling that. So my thought is, if it's handling that, it'll be able to live stream without a problem. The other bonus that you're going to get with that is, because it's a MacBook, you're going to have Mac OS, which means you can run Ecamm. And I think Ecamm is the simplest to use for streaming. So that's kind of what I would suggest. Dean says he totally agrees. The M1 MacBook Air runs Ecamm like butter.
Like butter.
And OBS is pretty smooth too. So even if somebody's not wanting to spend the extra money on the Ecamm, they can still do OBS with it, and it'll handle all right. So that's kind of the route I would suggest for a simple, portable live stream setup would be... Oh, and then as far as microphones, here's Clint. Actually, Clint says that he's tried Mevo, iPhone, GoPro, settled with his A6400 on a tripod, hooked up to MacBook Pro and Ecamm. No tracking, but it's my best option at the moment. And this is where I would say...
My man.
I would say what he's got, A6400, and for churches, like if you're thinking A6600 or A6400, if you're going to be portable, and if you don't need the extra battery life, like you can plug in a dummy battery, whatever, then yeah, I would say use the an A6400 would be great, especially if you want the interchangeable lenses. So if you want to grow into something else, A6400 is still a great camera. If you're not sure what camera system you want to go with, and if you're looking for something that's really easy and simple to use, that would be the ZV-1. All of this being said, I keep saying Sony ZV-1. I have zero personal experience using that to date. Here in about 3 days, that will change.
Spoiler alert. Oh, man.
Spoiler alert. I've been recommending it so much that I was like, I got to get a hold of one. I keep telling people to get it. I've got to get a hold of one. You're probably not going to hear a full review on it for about a month, because I'm going to be recording half of my vlogs using my A6600 and half of them using the ZV-1, and I'm not going to tell anybody which is which until after I've done it. And then we'll just see. And I'm going to be doing the same thing with church services. So I'll be recording, video from there, back of our sanctuary, using A6600 with my 50mm f1.8. And then I'll be using the ZV-1 with its 24-70 at about 50mm f1.8. So we'll have a nice comparison on some of that stuff to see.
Cannot wait.
But from others using it, it's just, it's a great small compact system. And I mean small. I went to Best Buy and I put it in my hand and I'm like, this thing is tiny. It's tiny. I think my A6600 flip up screen is bigger than it.
Are you serious?
So it is small.
Whoa.
It's small. I was shocked. It felt dinky in my hands, and I was going to break it. And I started second guessing whether I wanted to buy it. I'm like, this thing's too small. I'm going to hurt it.
No.
And then I was like, nah, I got to buy it anyways.
Yeah.
So Clint says he has a ZV-1 and it's awesome for vlogging, but personally doesn't love it for church services. So
why cause?
That would be
Clint, you're my man. You're my man. I can already tell. Just try it. Next iteration will get better. Try it. Yeah. Next iteration will get better.
Yeah,
I love that, man. If you want to see that in practice, come over to my channel, take a look at our live streams. Oh, they're horrendous. They're absolutely horrendous in person. If you're there. This last week, I don't think we were able to post any, but I think I have footage of the Mevos, transitioning from different cameras, different lighting styles. We're just trying stuff out at home, and then we transition it over to church. So I appreciate that about you.
Yeah.
You got a knowledge base behind you to say, tried it.
Yeah, and you almost have to do that. I mean, we do all the research that we can, but at some point we can continue to research and then never do anything. Or we can sit there and say, I've got the information and I think this is going to be the best thing. Let me pull the trigger on it. Let me buy it. And let's see. Now you could be like me and just go all in and say, you know what? I got this. I'm ripping all the plastic off of it.
No.
And I'm going to own it. No. Or you can be Jarrod and you can leave the plastic on because you plan on sending it back. Very non-committal.
Still don't know
It's
about them.
funny.
They're right the fifth. Here's what I don't like about Mevo. This has nothing to do with specs or use case or anything like that. On their promo, if you start looking into Mevo things, now that I've said Mevo enough times on your device, you're probably going to get some ads your way. But Mevo did not shoot their commercial with a Mevo.
Right?
That bothers me. Anyway.
That's insane to me. That's the one thing I've appreciated at least about GoPro. GoPro's commercials, their ads are shot on GoPro.
Yeah.
And they use it, which Jason Remster is saying he's got a GoPro 9 with the light mod. Now he uses it, and it's the media mod, not the light mod. So it adds all that sort of stuff on there, and it's got with the max lens as well. He's using that for baseball and softball games, and it works. Like, I'm surprised at how good of a quality it's putting out and streaming from it. So all he's doing is he's using his cell phone as a hotspot and then streaming through it. So it's basically feeding the internet signal to the GoPro, and the GoPro's uploading straight to Facebook. And it works. Now, granted, it's baseball, softball, it's outdoors.
This is on Facebook?
Yeah.
Jason, are you posted on Facebook?
Yeah, he's posting them on Facebook.
All right.
So have to check those out, because he's been streaming them for the last couple months, and I'm surprised like how well it's doing, and especially when you get that max lens mod and you can go ultra wide on it too, which can be, it could be beneficial. What I should do, Jason, as soon as season's up, I'm just giving you a heads up. I want to borrow the GoPro, and we're going to use it for a church service and see what I can do with it. So there we go. Here we go. And Clint was saying he also uses the Rode Wireless Go for audio. So that would be the other aspect. When you're looking at a small church live streaming setup, you need a camera, you need a computer, you need audio, and audio is really the most important on that. Rode Wireless Go. I love the Rode Wireless Go. I tried the Comica Boom XD. I would suggest 2 if you need... Actually, I would suggest if you don't have any of them, like if you don't have one, buy the Rode Wireless Go 2. It would be nice to have that extra, and for the extra price that it's at, and the ability to then record internally on it to have a backup, just in case the whole stream goes down. At least you know you got the audio there. So I would say go with that. If you already have the original, like I do, I don't think it's worth it to upgrade unless you absolutely need a second one. So that's what I would do. And then the only other thing on there is maybe look at getting a lavalier mic for it, so that way you don't have the big thing, hanging and pulling on the shirt.
Yeah.
So you could do that. And they've got a great lavalier. Like Rode's audio. Come on, Rode has great audio. It does. Yes, there are others that are very comparable, but they're good.
They're out of stock.
Well, yeah. You'll have that post-pandemic.
Oh,
Everybody
man.
wanting to buy stuff.
Yes. I just got my check.
There are other options. There are other options that are out there. I mean, I had the Comica Boom XD, the Duo one, the D2 Duo. It works good. Like it works good. It just wasn't better than my Wireless Go, so I sent it off.
Dude,
But
you
it
were
works
excited
good.
about that thing. That to me shows me that you're not just going to like commit to an idea and go with it. You're going to give it the actual try, and if it's not as good, you're going to send it on. Or you don't use it. Not that it's not as good. You don't use it as much, you send it on. I appreciate that about you, because you were excited about that deity.
And the Boom, the Blue Compass boom arm. I had that thing. Loved it. Like, great. You've got it. I see it right there. That is a great boom arm. It takes a little bit, and it's a little finicky to get adjusted, but once you get it adjusted, it's good. And it works. They were out of stock. I saw this, Podcast Pro boom arm, and I'm like, let's try it. And I got it, and I was impressed that I don't have to do any tweaking and adjusting on it. And I was like, well, I guess I'll buy a second one. And then that Blue Compass that I love so much, I'm going to sell it. And so send it out the door. But yeah, I'll try a bunch of things. Yeah. So, let's see. Okay, hold on. Clint says we connect the Rode Wireless Go to our soundboard. So I don't need the extra lav.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. And that would work.
That would be what I would do. Right now, I'm just going straight to the Mevo with what gear I've got.
Well, and for if you're looking at mobile, like very portable and stuff, that's where if you've got the soundboard already, yeah, send straight into that and then the audio signal out there. But if you don't, then go straight into the camera, and that's where you want a camera that's got a mic jack, preferably one that would have headphone jack too. I don't know if the ZV-1 has headphones. Sony ZV-1.
That got me in trouble this last live stream. not checking the audio. I think we were on for 10 minutes and we didn't hop over to the comments, and Diana's in there going, "Well, this is interesting." Like new low for the Brown House live stream.
It was. Hey, and I was trying. I couldn't hear you, but I just kept commenting anyways.
Dude, you were a champ. Hey, you don't know how frustrated we were. My wife was so angry, and it was.
I think I know you guys well enough that I could read your face.
Dude, it was
and it was like, so no, the ZV-1 doesn't have a headphone jack out. That's where I do like having my A6600, but typically, as long as you've got some type of an audio monitoring, not all Canons do, but Sony likes to put them on at least. You should be fine.
What computer option are you using?
That would be a good one.
I'd like
While he's getting ready to type in that for us, I'm going to bring up his other comment. He says, "My next option is a Mavic 2 Pro that follows me around while I preach."
Yes.
Yes.
You could probably pull that off with yours, Joshua. I would imagine, I haven't heard it, but it's quiet enough and it's small enough. You're not going to upset anybody. Just don't hit any
I've
blue
already
hair.
flown it in the church, so I mean, hey, why not?
Do you use yours anymore?
Occasionally. I've got a bunch of footage that I go out and I'll take it and just record. But like the last few weeks, it's been just crazy busy. So I haven't had a chance to do much. But it's fun to go out and fly. So.
I have a rule of thumb around my house with my drone. If my batteries die, which you waited too long and they just start decharging.
Yeah.
If my batteries go down to a number 2 on the little flashing meter dilly, then it's been too long. I charge them and I have to go fly. Go fly.
I like that. It's over there and I don't want to get up, so I'm not going to grab it. But it has been it's been a little bit. So Jason was saying last night's game was bad. I didn't change settings. You can borrow it anytime. So I was trying to tell Jason when he's streaming that he's got it set in 4K. So he's outputting a 4K signal.
Oh, wow.
And that's great that you're trying to do that. The downside of that is that it's not going to, like Facebook's, your internet hotspot bandwidth is going to be sending all of that bandwidth out. But Facebook, it's like they've got a wall up and 4K hits and they only suck through 720p. Mm-hmm. So it's like you don't need to send all that out. And then that's part of the problem is you're trying to send so much out and then your signal is going to get choppy. This is a lot of the other part about live streaming setups that most don't even take into consideration. So even a mobile, portable unit that you've got, you really got to be able to figure out what internet speed have I got? Mm-hmm. What have I got access to? Like where our church is, we don't have great access. So I think our plan out there, I think we've got 25 meg down and 3 meg upload is all we've got. So I wound up having to get a separate router that basically limited our Wi-Fi signal so it can only use like one meg of upload, and then the other 2 is like dedicated just to our sound booth for live streaming. So it's a hassle to do some of that stuff, but you've got to figure out what do I have access to? What can I actually navigate and stream sustainably? And so that's where I would say start, it's you mentioned it, Moses mentality. Start where you're at, use what you've got, do what you can. And if all I've got is, 3 meg upload, I'm going to use it. And that just means I can't do full HD. At least not consistently. So I need to go down to 720. And at least if you're only putting out 720, if you can still get your audio, all right. I mean, especially with YouTube's new mobile auto quality setting that drives me bananas all the time. It's like, no, I want 4K all the time.
Yes, all the time.
All the time.
Never. I'll wait for it.
This will only give me 2.7, but I want 4K on it.
All the time.
All the time.
I'm in agreement with that.
1080p if I'm in a pinch.
But why are you trying to feed me 420?
Exactly.
I want to see that. Get that off my phone.
So, does that answer the question on my portable, what was it? Portable live stream option?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I've got some weed questions that we can hash out another time as far as what we were just talking about with how to dedicate, like, how much bandwidth should you dedicate to your congregation? How much should you set behind a wall? Is that even possible? That sort of thing. Like whenever they show up on Sunday and everybody wants to know the Wi-Fi password for some reason, or Thursday night or whatever, and they have the Wi-Fi password. So every time they come now to church, you have 100, 200, 300,000, whatever people who are on the Wi-Fi, and you're like, what? Stop.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway, that's for another time.
Well, you could, You don't want to do what I did when we first did the live streaming. People were like, oh, hey, what's the Wi-Fi password? It's, you're not going to get it. And they're like, what? And I was like, no, we're using all of our internet bandwidth to actually live stream.
Yes.
So you don't get it. You get to do hotspot.
When we moved, Jesse goes, do not tell me the Wi-Fi password.
Yeah.
He's like, everyone asks me what the Wi-Fi, and I can't help myself. I have to tell them. I'm like, you do not have to tell them, but I'm not going to tell you.
Yep. I had workers, children's workers that are trying to pull up, YouTube videos for children's church, and they're wanting the Wi-Fi. And I was like, you don't get it.
No.
Well, how are we going to do this? Apparently you're not. It's like, if you don't have like mobile hotspot, I don't know what to tell you. We're streaming. So I need all of the bandwidth that we can get. Oh, it's like, well, why would you get internet here if, you weren't going to do Wi-Fi? Because it's not about the people that are here. It's about the people that are out there that need to get what's in here. That's why.
What do you need while you're in here? It's like the weather app? No.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
So now I did have somebody that was then asking me because their internet provider doesn't have coverage where our church was at. And they said, and this was when I was doing like all the sermon notes through the Bible app. And then they're like, I can't get access. Like you're asking me to follow along with the notes, but my phone doesn't work in here. I was like, all right, here's the Wi-Fi password. It's like,
there's always a really good, I know, there's always a really good reason. It's like,
I was like, all right, you got a good reason. I mean, I suppose.
Changing the password next week. I mean.
Yep. But anywho, I think that's all I got for you guys. Anything else that you got, Jarrod?
No, man. Good one.
All right. Well, it's been fun. It's been real. I think it's even been real fun. So, I got nothing else. Until next time, stay blessed. Enjoy God's best. Thanks for the floating coffee, Jarrod heads. We'll see you later.